Coming up in the next 30 minutes, armed forces order security agencies in for better deal as Ogun government commits security trust fund to their welfare. Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi declares night trips as dangerous, unsafe. Former Algerian Premier Ahmed Ouyaha faces fresh allegations, admits illegal sales of gold bars in the black market. Ex-Green Eagles captain, coach Christian Chukwu debunks death rumor, says, "I am alive." Do not wait until the conditions are perfect to begin. Beginning makes the conditions perfect. Hello and welcome to our comprehensive news package here on Ogun State Television. I am Olayinka Shodunke. Through the Ogun State Security Trust Fund, the current administration in Ogun State will continue to create a favorable atmosphere for the armed forces and other security outfits to thrive. The Speaker, Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, confirmed this while representing Governor Dapo Abiodun at the special church service commemorating this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Elizabeth Esson, who was at the Cathedral of St. Peter, Akiabeokuta, venue of the ceremony, reports that former President of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, joined other top government functionaries to grace the occasion.
Every January, precisely 15th day, in Nigeria is set aside to commemorate the servicemen of the Nigerian Armed Forces, and also to honor veterans of the World War I and World War II, as well as the Nigerian Civil War. Secret to this, various programs are lined up preceding the day to further foster the unity the Nigerian Civil War sought to tear apart. At the special church service held in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, Bishop of Remo Diocese Methodist Church of Nigeria, Shagamu, Right Reverend Bamidele Bikunle, enjoined service chiefs, officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces to remain focused and not to compromise or lower the standard laid by the fallen heroes.
There must be a good rapport between men of the armed forces, the paramilitaries and civilians, because we are brothers and sisters of the same forefathers. We all must uphold and sustain the labor of our heroes past so that their labor will not be in vain. Talking about unity in diversity, I strongly believe that the beauty of Nigeria lies in its ethnic and cultural diversities. Let us hold on to this and use it judiciously and sagaciously to ensure that our tribal democracy and development is guaranteed.
The Speaker, Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Taiwo Olakunle Oluomo, representing Governor Dapo Abiodun at the service, promised to continue to champion the cause of the security outfits in the state and not relenting in giving necessary support to families of the fallen heroes.
The war against insurgents, banditry, kidnapping is difficult to fight than the conventional war because it's guerrillarship in time. So because of that, I want to call on all Nigeria to do everything that is possible to support them in this time. And that's why the state government using the special trust fund to procure a lot of equipment to support the security service of the state. I want to assure you on behalf of the governor that the state government will continue to do the needful in making sure that you're able to do your job the way it should be done.
The only lesson at the special church service was read by the Speaker on behalf of the governor. Former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, who was a major icon of the end of the Second World War, was in attendance alongside service chiefs, officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces, government functionaries, past and present, royal fathers led by Alake and paramount ruler of Egba land, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, among others. Elizabeth Esson, Ogtv News.
The contributions of retiring president of the body of head of local government administration in Ogun State, Prince Kola Akinyemi, to good governance at the grassroots level will continue to serve as a good model for others to follow. Chairman, Local Government Service Commission in Ogun State, Barrister Olivia Olubukola Onobanjo, made this known at a special 60th birthday and retirement service for the man popularly known as SIDO, organized by SIDO Like Mind across all the 20 local governments in the state, held at Arcade Ground, Akaribu Palace, Shagamu. Matthew Shomi completes the report.
Described as a gentle, hard-working and dedicated civil servant, Prince Kola Akinyemi's 30-year civil service career at the local government has not only taken him to all the zones and almost all the council areas in the state, but has left indelible mark in the minds of everyone he came across during his service years. As he bows out of the service, having clocked the mandatory age of 60 years, it was an opportunity for the people to pay him back for his good deeds and wonderful service, not only in the local government service, but the community. Hence, the coming together of SIDO Like Minds in all the 20 local governments to celebrate him. Chairman of Local Government Service Commission in Ogun State, Barrister Olubukola Onabanjo, described Prince Kola Akinyemi as a hard-working and dedicated civil servant who gave all his best to the service.
Very hard-working, and he knows much about the structure and the workings of the commission.
President of National Union of Local Government Employees, Comrade Akim Ambani, said the celebrant has demonstrated uncommon leadership qualities as a union leader at the local government level.
Like that to be in political hemisphere. We need people like him to lead local government service at political level. We need him to be a chairman of local government to demonstrate the acumen, political acumen and sagacity of a shrewd administrator, well-trained. Chairman
of Ogun State Transport Union Committee, Barrister Sunday Femi Adeniyi, is the chairman of the occasion.
He has served the state diligently, dutifully, and responsibly during the time he was in service.
In their separate goodwill messages, chairman of the organizing committee of the retirement and birthday celebration, dignitaries and the wife of the celebrant said he is worthy of being celebrated.
He has really stayed before above water, and I can vouch for him that wherever he goes, yes, he will always have a way.
He's an administrator to the core, so we need to celebrate him. Well, in fact, this kind of thing has never happened in this local government.
We had many storms, but we thank God that the Almighty God has taken control of everything, and is able to celebrate his 60th birthday today.
Earlier, in his sermon at the Thanksgiving service, Pastor Olatubosun Adesanya described the celebration as a new beginning in Christ and his glory. Prince Kola Akinyemi said he has every reason to thank God for witnessing the age of 60, having received different promises that he would not live to see the day.
I feel that when you are in the service, you try as much as possible to have a very good character. Then you try as much as possible to assist people within the limits of your capacity.
Prince Kola Akinyemi started his career as an admin secretary on grade level 8 on 31st December 1990. Matthew Shomi, Ogtv News.
Parents and guardians have been admonished to train their children in the way of the Lord, for them to be contented to collectively change the current state of the nation as upbringing matters. Chief Mrs. Alaba Lawson, the Yalode of Yoruba land, dropped this hint during a media parley with journalists at a private residence, Quarry Road, Abeokuta, which was part of activities commemorating a 70th birthday. Bengade Koya's report is presented from our studios.
The media parley held at the residence of Chief Mrs. Alaba Oluwaseun Lawson, the Yalode of Yoruba land, an Egba-born business magnate, entrepreneur, and academician, was part of the activities commemorating the 70th birthday of this woman of many parts, who has impacted positively in almost all human endeavors, mingling with journalists and sharing her experience on the journey so far towards attaining the milestone age of 70. The birthday girl encouraged Nigerian parents to train their awards in a way of the Lord, as she enjoined governments to go back to the old days of inculcating vocational training into the young ones.
My youth and growing up, I wasn't born with any silver spoon. I was never born with any silver spoon. But by average parents in this same Abeokuta, my late father, late Pa Emmanuel Abiono Jiboku, of the famous ECN otherwise known as Jiboku Tono Tono, and my late mother, Mrs. Ruth Olabisi Aino Jiboku. Good blessed memory to both of them. The way I was brought up is to be God-fearing.
While reeling out activities lined up for the celebration, Yalo de Alaba Lawson charged women in politics not to lose their self-respect and dignity, but believe in the will of God.
The main event we hold on that day that I was really born, on the 18th of January that I was born. To Jehovah God, I was born on a Thursday, but my 78th falls on a Monday. So I will go to the church at OOPF. The only important part of that program is that I want to use my voice to praise Jehovah for those few tiny times that I know that I would have been dead, but he has saved me. Then we go inside the event center, the Marquis.
Born on January 18, 1951, in Egbaland, Chief Mrs. Alaba Lawson, the proprietress of Lawson Group of Schools, became the Yalodi of Egbaland in August 1999. And on that same month, in the year 2008, she was conferred with the traditional title of Yalodi of Yorubaland by Ikuba Bayi, the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Adeyemi. Yalodi Alaba Lawson in 1995 became the first female president of Abeokuta Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Abeosima, and later became the first female national president of Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NASIMA, in 2017.
Moving swiftly on, the Corps Marshal of Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, Dr. Boboye Oyeyemi, has advised fleet operators, other commercial drivers and patronizers to avoid night trips, noting that they are not only unsafe but utterly dangerous. Dr. Oyeyemi as well cancelled private vehicle owners to desist henceforth from it, while emphasizing that night trip, which is often characterized by poor visibility, fatigue, slipping on the wheels, excessive speed, among others. The FRSC boss spoke on the backdrop of dangers, the risk and rising cases of fatalities occasioned by road traffic crashes recorded in the recent times during the night. Speaking through Mr. B.C. Kazim, the Corps Public Education Officer, Oyeyemi gave the warning while reacting to some reports of fatal crashes recorded at night at the beginning of the year, which led to the death of several road users and left others with different degrees of injuries. The Special Task Force on Monitoring and Enforcement of Nigerian Expatriate Business Permit and Expatriate Quota Administration has said the federal government will sanction any company that fails to comply with the law guiding the employment of qualified Nigerians to understudy expatriate. To ensure compliance with the policy, the task force has directed companies in the country to submit the tax identification number, national identification numbers, phone numbers and email addresses of Nigerians understudying expatriates in their firms. The chairman of the task force, Mr. Bola Ilori, said in a statement on Sunday that the decision was reached after the meeting of the task force with representatives of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigeria Labour Congress, NBA, NSE, other professional bodies and officials of the Ministry of Interior. He said any company found to be playing tricks to deny qualified Nigerian jobs would face heavy sanctions from the federal government. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has sent an open letter to President Muhammadu Buhari urging him to use his leadership position to promptly drop the plan by the federal government to borrow about 895 billion naira of unclaimed dividends and funds in dormant accounts using the partly unconstitutional and illegal Finance Act 2020 and to ensure full respect for Nigerians' rights to property. The Finance Act, signed into law by Buhari last December, would allow the government to borrow unclaimed dividends and dormant account balances owned by Nigerians in any of the banks in the country. Now, depression, low self-esteem and social isolation have been identified as potential hazards to overdependence on mobile phones, particularly late at night. This modern-day menace, according to a respondent who spoke with our reporter, Ife Shuluade, could affect one's decision-making. His report.
There is no doubt that mobile phones have impacted the world at large with its technological advantage at most spheres of human endeavors, be it academically, medically, financially, and even socially. But nowadays, using a mobile phone has become addictive as children, teenagers, and even the elderly ones are fond of using phones till late night, first thing in the morning, while driving or walking on the road. This act, according to mental health advocate Mrs. Fumi Adeyemi, tends to have lots of societal repercussions and psychological implications on humans.
What are the psychological effects of mobile phone addiction? First, we have anxiety, we have depression, we have insomnia, that's inability to sleep, and on the extreme level, we can have suicide. I'm sure you've heard about some young people that played a mobile game and they killed themselves in the process.
Relationship counselor Mrs. Mokwilola Aruwo-Shafe and an educationist, Mr. Olumide Akonde, also highlighted some other ways the nomophobic act could truncate one's societal lifestyle and children's academic performances.
To relationship, to marriage, you see a lot of homes that husband and wife, they prefer to send text to each other. Those are signs that you are addicted. When you can't do without holding your phone, you every minute you're always pressing the thing, you're always on it, you prefer texting more than communication, more than talking. Of course, when you talk, is a mental exercise.
Say, for instance, as a student or even an individual, an adult in the office, you want to make a research, you get distracted because of a lot of social media and activities that go on the phone. So it causes a lot of distraction that affect life's output positively, either in academics or in the general life.
What could be done to avert or suppress the habit?
I call this social distancing. When you're in a room with your phone, try and stay far from your phone. You can just to make sure that you don't keep pressing the phone and switch off notifications too. So if you do that, you're the one that decides when you want to check the phone and how often you want to do that. You can decide that, oh, I want to do this on a hourly basis. Then be accountable to someone so that when you are beginning to go off the balance, the person can remind you and bring you back. Then replace the need to always want to press the phone with other productive activities, maybe like reading books, and just spending quality time with loved ones.
Personal determination and focus. Adults around to encourage the young ones to stay focused. Even if you are going on phone to check some information, just go straight to the area where you want. Don't get distracted.
Realize that this thing is a gadget. You are supposed to use it. It's not supposed to use you. This thing is a gadget. It's supposed to be to your benefit, not to your detriment. This thing is supposed to help you make life easier, not destroy your health. This thing is supposed to help your relationship.
Those found guilty of these habits were advised to make use of their phones only when needed and not be controlled by the portable technological gadget called mobile phone. Ife Sholuade, Ogtv News.
Now talking health, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases on the African continent has reached 3 million. As of Sunday morning, the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention have said. According to the Continental Disease Control and Prevention Agency's Africa COVID-19 dashboard, the death toll related to the pandemic stood at 73,121. A total of 2,450,492 people were infected with COVID-19 and have recovered across the continent as of Sunday morning. The most affected African countries in terms of number of positive cases include South Africa, Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, and Ethiopia. The National Orientation Agency has clarified that the coronavirus vaccine to be procured by the federal government does not contain a microchip. The agency said this in a series of tweets on Sunday. On whether the COVID-19 vaccine contained a microchip, the federal government agency said the Ministry of Health would certify the vaccine safe before being administered. The agency also debunked the rumor that the vaccine could infect with the virus, saying once vaccination doses are complete, one becomes protected. It also clarified that the COVID-19 vaccine would not alter human genetic information, which is the DNA. Flexing the coronavirus lockdown rules could be fatal. The UK Health Secretary has warned as hospital administration admission soars. The Secretary, Matt Hancock, did not rule out strengthening current restrictions, and he also said the NHS was under very serious pressure. It comes after almost 60,000 new cases of coronavirus were reported in the UK on Saturday, and the number of deaths after a positive test passed 80,000. Labour leaders said the rules were tough but may not be tough enough, and called for the government to hold daily press conferences to avoid mixed messages. The Commandant Oyo State Security Network Agency, Operation Amotekun, Colonel Olayinka Olanyoju, has denied the reports alleging that there was a clash between the men of the corps and Fulani herdsmen in Ibarapa and Okeogun axis of Oyo State. According to the commandant who spoke in Ibadan, the state capital, on Sunday, he said his men launched 6 operations in 4 local government areas. However, he stated that the team was attacked in the forest by suspected bandits, 3 of whom were killed by men of the Amotekun Corps. According to him, the operations were fully supported by Fulani leaders in the areas. He added that some Métis Island members were part of the operations. Now, there has been a fire outbreak at the Immigration Service headquarters in Abuja on Sunday morning, affecting some offices. The service confirmed the incident via its Twitter handle, adding that the fire has been contained by the Federal Fire Service and other agencies across the airport. While the cause of the fire is under investigation, they have assured the public that the incident would not affect their services. The Cross River State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has paraded two suspected child traffickers in Calabar. The traffickers were heading to Ogun State with some children in their possession when they were intercepted. Speaking at the defense headquarters in Calabar, the state commandant, Major Kodumi Abidemi, explained that the suspects were nabbed by officers who were on their normal business of trailing people and agencies involved in child trafficking across Cross River State. Mr. Bidemi said investigations suggest that the 2 traffickers are of a crime syndicate operating within the state. A search for the mastermind behind the operation of the cartel has begun, while the victims have been handed over to the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons for further investigations. On foreign scene, black boxes of a passenger plane which crashed into the seas soon after takeoff from Jakarta, Indonesia on Saturday have been located. Officials have said a small flotilla of ships have been searching the sites, and Navy divers are expected to be able to retrieve the 2 flight recorders they added. Aircraft parts and human remains have been found. The airline Boeing 737 was carrying 62 people when it crashed from the radar and vanished from the radar on its journey to Borneo. Investigators are analyzing items which they believe could be a wheel and part of the plane's fuselage. The search appears to offer no hope of finding any survivors. Former Algerian Premier Ahmed Hoyaha, on trial for corruption, admitted on Saturday to receiving gold bars from Gulf donors, then selling them on the black market, the official APS news agency has reported. The former Premier and fellow ex-Prime Minister Abdul Malik Salah are accused of covertly financing the 2019 re-election bid of the then President Abdulaziz Bouteflika, who resigned shortly afterwards amidst mass anti-government protest. Their trial opened Saturday after the Supreme Court in November annulled their earlier convictions following an appeal. Both had served under former President Abdulaziz Bouteflika. Several former ministers questioned Saturday over the sources of assets in his bank accounts totaling over $5 million. He said some had come from black market sales of gold bars, which he received as gift in his capacity as Prime Minister from former leaders of Gulf countries, report added. The 60 gold bar were estimated to be valued at some $2.5 million. Now to sports. Former Super Eagles coach Christian Chukwu has debunked the news of his death, saying that he is ill and healthy. Chukwu made this known to journalists on Sunday at his Trans-Akulu residence in Ogun State. Social media have since January the 8th, 2021 been awash with the news of Chukwu's death. However, Chukwu, who celebrated his 70th birthday on January the 4th, said that he was surprised that some people would wish him dead. We shall now have the weather forecast for Monday. Let's remind you that do not wait until the conditions are perfect